Okay, so welcome to Pivot, how to change the mindset. Paying attention to what you think always begins with self-awareness. Now, throughout the day, we have over 85,000 thoughts that stumble through our brains. And those thoughts, whatever the average is going to create what you respond to. And what you respond to is your actions, and then your actions end up being your results. So it's important to backtrack and start at the beginning so that we can really figure out what thought is going to get you the result that you want. And we do that by really paying attention and really being self-aware. So today I recommend that you grab a paper and pen. You're going to need it, and take lots of notes. Now, the reason I say a pen and paper is because when you write things down, there is a hand-to-brain connection that is not the same as typing. So when you can get your hand and your brain on the same page, it is going to trigger a connection that's going to get you more productive. But the other thing that's really important is to cut out outside distractions. So if you've got 10 things going on, you're focusing on nothing. So just cut out all other distraction for the time that you're here, and then we're going to do what we can to get results. Again, I'm not going to be seeing anything in the comments on the Zoom. So if you have any comments or questions, please make sure to post those in the Facebook group. Okay, so over the next 8 weeks, we are going to dive deep into the think portion of Pivot. And that is broken down into 3 bigger categories, which are the mindset, how you feel, and what you experience. Mindset is actually broken down into 3 categories as well. And the first step is what we're focusing on today, that is being self-aware. Next week, we're going to look at self-care, and that's going to lead us to thought patterns. All of these things are critical in the first step, which is the mindset. So in the next 8 classes, there are 3 things that we really, really, really need to focus on in order to be able to get us in the mind space we have to be in to pivot. And the conscious mind it's the part that we think with. That takes up 10%. 10% of how we think. The subconscious mind is kind of the computer of our body, and it's the thing that gets us working with our what I call autonomic nervous system, or what the medical field calls autonomic nervous system. It is our fight and flight, it's our rest and repair, it's the thing that tells our heart that it has to beat at a certain rate. It's the thing that gets our lungs and so that it's able to filter our air and we have enough oxygen that's going to our brain. It's telling all systems to work, but it's also monitoring how you're processing thought. It's got an immune system. I call it an emotional immune system on top of it all. And all things are running in the background, just like a computer operates in the background. We don't need to know how much RAM is being used as we type. We just type, right? So if you're comparing our thoughts to a computer, our conscious mind is what we're operating with, right? It's the information that we are putting into the computer. The subconscious mind is the capacity of the computer, what it's capable of doing. It's what it's doing to make everything work. And then we lead to our belief systems. And that is all of the outside information that we have gathered from the time that we've been born. And it's what we have perceived as truth. And when we have that perceived truth, it can work for us or it can work against us. The problem is most of it has been so ingrained that we do it automatically to the point that we don't know the difference, or we don't know that something else is possible. So it's really being able to uncover all of those things, and so that you can get all of these things working for you rather than trying to manage them. Like it's a constant battle if the weight of the world feels like it's sitting on your shoulders. You can't get anything done fast, right? So in the self-awareness, the conscious, it is how we get our ideas, it's the choices that we make and the actions that we take on an awareness level that we know that we're in control of, right? The subconscious, it's more the body function, our habits, and our automatic responses, our reflexes. The beliefs are going to be our morals, our value, and our integrity. Now, again, all three of these things have to be in alignment if you're going to pivot, because if on a conscious level you decide that you want to do something, but on a subconscious level you have doubt, this is 10%, this is 90%, what do you think is going to win? Even if on a conscious level and a subconscious level you're 100% in agreement, if you have a belief system that what you're doing is immoral, or you're bad, or you are you're doing something wrong or not in the best interest, you'll sabotage yourself. And so it's our conscious mind, our subconscious mind, and our beliefs in alignment that will get results. So ideas, they come from a few different sources. We can get ideas that are recommended to us, and then we can choose to react or act. We can have experience, which is something that we know that we have done before. And if we've got experience, it's a little bit more comfortable. Or it can be something that we discover. And so if it's something that you have been trying to figure out, you can start doing research and you can get ideas from experts that or authorities on a subject that have done it before. So those are how we kind of come across our ideas. And then we get to the place where we make our choice. And when we make our choice, we do it from three emotions. We can either do it with confidence because we believe it's going to work. We can do it from a place of fear because we feel like there's no choice. Or we can do it from a place of curiosity because it's intriguing and it seems like it's fun. So when we are making a choice, the actions are going to be controlled by emotion. So those emotions are going to be certainty, fear, or passion. Make sense? Everybody with me? I can't see in the Facebook group right now, so I'll just keep on going. All right. So the body, I promised I wasn't going to say it in here. Okay. So the body is amazing because in our body, we are able to determine if we're making positive choices based on all three of those things. And our body will always communicate with us in three ways. So we can tell by pain if what we're doing is right or wrong. And it's I shouldn't say right or wrong, because there is no such thing as right or wrong, but it's our pain is always trying to tell us something. So if you understand what it's trying to say, then it's amazing, because you can use your body as a tool to get you to where you want to be. But if you don't understand what pain is trying to tell you, then it stays consistent, and it can be debilitating until you figure it out. Our strength is another thing. So when you are standing in your truth, you are strong. And when your emotions are more on a negative scale, you'll find that you feel weak. So it's important to pay attention to how you're feeling and your strength level. The other thing is energy levels. So when you're in alignment with what it is that you want to do, there's a level of excitement. There's it's like jump out of bed in the morning excited. And when you're not, it's kind of drag your butt out of bed in the morning kind of energy level. And it can change throughout the day, and it can change in a moment. It depends on where you're at. When we're talking about habits, we are usually in 3 modes. We're either trying to create a habit, we have established a habit, or our habits have already been becoming a part of our automatic, and it's just it's automatic. It's just a reaction. And the first 2, the creating, that is going to be in the conscious mind. So we know when we're trying to create a habit because it's work. When it's been established, we know because that's something that we just add to our daily routine. So it's something that we schedule into every day, like making your bed or brushing your teeth or working out or exercising or eating, right? We know that, okay, we eat at this time on average every day. Now, a reaction is a little bit different. And these ones are the trickiest ones to find, because a reaction is usually so ingrained and it is so automatic that we do it without even realizing that we're doing it. And when I'm talking about a reaction, I'm talking about these are the deep-seated things that keep us living the same year over and over again, rather than living every year of our lives. And these are the things that we really need to pay attention to when we're trying to pivot. So our responses, they're either going to be logical, which is that conscious level where we're making that decision. They're going to be emotional, which is usually stored in the subconscious, or it's that habitual one, and it's the do it without even thinking about it. So when we're stuck with the conscious level, it's our logical mind, and that is going to be restricted to what you know or what you've been taught. So it's going to come from what you've perceived to be right based on what you've been told by your parents, your family, your friends, your teachers, your mentors, or experience, right? It's the proof. It's the things that you have come to know over time. Emotional, it's going to be driven by passion and desire. So you're likely going to try to steer away from things that cause your heart to hurt, and you're probably going to jump towards the things that make you happy or make you feel empowered. So the habitual, it's again, that's the automatic. And habitual, these are the things that we really need to find because they're buried. And where they're buried is usually in our subconscious mind. That's a little bit deeper than what I can explain in today's class, but I'm going to give you some tools in order to try to start detecting these things. So right now, I told you to grab a pen and paper at the beginning of this class. And I want to know right now, I mean, we don't have to reveal this with everybody. This is just for your information. But where are you at right now? Where would you rate your finances? Where would you relate to, or where would you rate your relationships, your health, your lifestyle, your career? How do you feel emotionally? And when it comes to your thoughts, where are you at mentally? Like, where are you with thinking? And when I say that, it's, are your thoughts usually productive? Like, are you having encouraging thoughts? Or that little voice in your head, is it a narcissistic jerk that needs to get attitude adjustment, is what I'm asking you. So when I say that inner thought, if I was to tell you to don't speak out loud, just in your thoughts, if you were to think right now the words, I love you, can you hear that in your thoughts? It's that little voice that tells you what to do. And it's that little voice that's running your show. And so when I say, is that inner voice a narcissistic jerk that needs an attitude adjustment? When that voice is critical, when it's judgy, when it is mean, when it's telling you everything that you can't do, what you shouldn't do, what if you did, how could you, the guilt, the shame, the fear, the don't do it because, that's going to take your emotion into a negative state. It's going to take, it's going to keep you playing small. And so when I say it needs an attitude adjustment, I mean, what can we do to switch those thoughts to be encouraging? Because remember when I said your body's strong when it's in truth, and it's weak when it's not true. That thing, that inner voice, all those stories it's telling you, it's not true. None of it's true. That's just fear trying to take control. So what is the truth? I don't want to know what you shouldn't do. I want to know what is possible. And so when we can really train that inner thought to work for you rather than to tear you down, things really do shift quick. So we know where you're at right now, and everything that you've done up until this point got you here. So now what I want to know is, where do you want to be? Where do you want your finances to be? What do you want your relationships to be like? What do you want your health to be like? What do you want your lifestyle to be like? What do you want your career to be like? How do you want to feel? And what do you want your inner voice to be giving you for instructions all the time? How do you want to think? And so once you take just a moment and you start to get clear on this check-in, it's going to give you a very clear indication of where you are, and it's going to give you a clear indication of where you want to be. And that is the perfect place to start. So I'm going to give you 5 minutes to just make sure that you write this down right now. Okay? So I have my timer on, 5 minutes, starting now. All right. Did everybody get a clear view of where you're at right now and where you want to be? Perfect. Okay. So the next thing that we need to focus on is morals. So what do you believe is right and what do you believe is wrong? Those things that you have been taught usually come from being a child, right? So what did you get told no? And what do you believe is a no? What did you tell yes? And what did you believe is a yes? So what is going to make you good and what is going to make you bad? Being able to understand these things as you're feeling them today is going to lead you to an understanding of where those beliefs and morals were set in stone. Some you're going to want to keep and some you're probably going to want to pivot from. So the other thing is values. So what are your core values? What are you going to stand for? Because if you don't stand for something, you're going to fall for anything. But you need to know, what are your values? Integrity. What are your deal breakers? What do you say yes to and what do you say no to? And integrity is kind of interesting because it's almost like it's our automatic. So if you're asked a question, your automatic response that comes out of your mouth, if it's a yes or no question, it will tell you what is sitting at the core. And your morals, your integrity, and your values are going to be the things that once you're clear on, it makes it really easy to say yes, and it makes it really easy to say no, because you're always going to feel at your best, right? And the best advice that I ever got was from one of my mentors, where I love him. His name is Andy Andrews. He is an expert on perspective. I highly recommend anything that he writes, specifically The Noticer. But one of the things that he had taught was to write your personal vision statement. And every business that we see has got a personal mission and vision statement. And that's how the business operates. They've also got their values, right? But when we bring that down to a personal vision statement, what it does is it gets us clear on who we want to be. And then anything outside of our mission or our vision, it gets super easy to say yes and no. Because if it's not in alignment, it's got to go. So for example, my personal vision is to share insights on how to reach physical, emotional, and mental freedom so that lives feel lighter and smiles brighten the day. And if I am approached with an opportunity or anything, I have to go back and I ask, is it in line with my personal vision? If it's a yes, it's in alignment, it's an easy yes. If it's not in alignment with my vision, it's an easy no. And so that allows you to have strength in your yes being your yes and your no being your no. So this week, this is not something that you can do in 5 minutes, but I strongly recommend that throughout this week, you take time to really sit down with yourself and figure out, what is your personal vision? What do you want your life to be surrounded by? What do you want your life to include? And make it a vision that is big enough so it's flexible for you to receive many opportunities, but focused enough. And so it's always going to lead you on the path that you want to go. You don't want a vision to be so diverse that it includes everything, but you don't want it to be so narrow that nothing can get through. Make sense? And when you get your personal so that's your vision statement. You make sure to write that out. And then you also have a personal mission statement. So the difference with that is it's a measurable. So my mission is to help 1 million people. My mission is to have technology that works so it doesn't freak me out. My mission is to help 1 million people release their limiting beliefs to reach dreams that they never imagined possible. So that can be in so many different things, right? But it is a mission that I know is going to keep me motivated and busy, likely for the rest of my life. So it's something that your mission is going to be something so big that it's your legacy, and it has to be big, so big that you can't imagine accomplishing it. If you reach your mission, congratulations, but it's something that needs to be massive and expandable, but mostly massive. Okay. The one thing that I recommend when you're trying to develop your personal vision and your personal mission statements is to take things back down to the basics, because the secret to life is really revealed in nature. So when you think about breathing, when you breathe in, if all that you do is breathe in, without breathing out, you're not going to make it. If all that you do is breathe out with never breathing in, you're not going to make it. But life is a little funny, because if you are a giver and all that you do is give without ever being open to receive, life has a way of balancing. And what it'll do is it will find somebody that's willing to take and pair it with somebody that always gives, and it becomes a codependent relationship really quick. But it's not sustaining because it's conditional. So in that codependent relationship, eventually the giver's not going to have anything left to give, and the taker will never have enough to take. So to break that cycle, it is critical that you breathe without life support on your own. And you have to learn how to give and how to receive in equal measure, just like breathing. When you look at nature, there's sunrise and sunset. It's consistent, it's predictable, it's guaranteed. We might not always be able to see it because there could be clouds, but I can assure you that, like clockwork, the sun is going to rise and the sun is going to set. It's consistent. It is critical to have consistency no matter what you do, because when it becomes consistent and reliable, you will reap the benefits. You just have to make sure that you're there and you're showing up. So being consistent, having a schedule, putting it on time, being reliable, and once that schedule is set, you have to be committed, right? The sun can't say, well, you know, I don't feel like getting up. I think I'm going to sleep in today. It doesn't work. The sunset, it's down to the minute too. It can't say, well, you know, I kind of want to do something else right now. No. It's sunrise and sunset. It's set, schedule set, and that's how you have to be with any of your plan. Gardening, this is very cool. If you look at a seed, it is small, it is hard, and it has to be planted in a dark space to grow most times, right? We take that and we plant it in the dirt. Now, the casing of that seed is going to have to crack. Otherwise, it'll die. And a lot of times when we go through life, we get comfortable being a seed. We don't want to crack because it's uncomfortable. It's probably heartbreaking. And it's probably going to create anxiety because we don't know what's next. But if that seed doesn't crack, if it's not watered, if it's not nurtured, if it's not given the fertilizer, it's not going to grow to its full potential. So when we're given the seeds of life, it's important to plant them, you water them, and you be prepared for that seed to crack, because it's not there to destroy you, it's there to expand. And when we do everything that we need to do, we don't really need to do a lot. You just need to make sure that that seed is planted in a place that is productive for it to grow. You don't want to take that seed and put it in cement. It's not going to get the nutrients. It's not going to get what it needs. But if you take that seed and you put it in a nutrient-dense soil and you make sure to water it, that seed doesn't have to do anything except be still, and everything will work for it until it grows into a plant and it starts to produce. Those things can take time. When we plant a seed, it doesn't automatically start developing fruit the day after. It takes consistency, it takes time, and it takes some patience. And I encourage you that no matter what seed that has been planted, you give it the same thing in life, right? You want to make sure that it's the same. You want to water it, you want to nurture it, you want to make sure that you're doing what you need to grow, and don't get scared. Weather, it's unpredictable. You have to be willing to adapt, because some days the weather is great, isn't it? You bask in the sun, you enjoy it all. And then there's times that the storms roll in, but always remember the storms pass. And so it's not getting so caught up in the storm that you forget that there's good days. And it's not getting all caught up in the good days that you forget the storms. It's about appreciating all of it. So if you can use those tools when you're creating your mission and your vision statement, it'll keep you prepared. Now, one thing that I do to keep me on track is I journal. And it used to be really annoying when I was just trying to journal with a blank piece of paper. So I ended up creating a workbook. The thing is 411 pages, and it takes the first part of the book. It's all about getting your plan figured out. And then it's 10 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes at night. I use it to journal. And it's designed as a 90-day workbook. The great thing about having something in the same place, or what I found productive whenever I do my workbook. So I have a new workbook for every 90 days, but it keeps reminding me every day what my goal is. And it just becomes part of my days. So in there, it's important for me to start my day the way that I need to. I have a little checklist at the top that keeps you on track with the tasks that you need to do every day, sunrise, sunset, right? And then it gives you the tasks that you need to accomplish. There's affirmations in there, and so that you can get your mind working the way that it needs to work to be your best friend rather than your worst critic. It's also got celebrations It's important to celebrate everything that you accomplish. Be your biggest cheerleader. And then it has your nighttime intention and what you're planning for the next day. So the pivot journal is what I use to be able to make sure that I'm on track for 90 days. The thing looks like an old telephone book. It's heavy as heck, and it's 8.5 by 11, but it's all in one spot. It works, and it's how I do it. So however you want to keep track, just make sure that you are journaling. Okay. And if anybody wants to use the pivot workbook, oh wait, I forgot to tell you. So this is called Pivot from BS. I know what you're thinking. BS is not standing for what you think it is. It's actually belief systems. But I'm a big advocate in you always focus on the cause, never the symptom. I promise the BS that you're thinking of is just a symptom of a belief system. And so when you can really figure out what that belief system is and neutralize it, the BS that you think of it happens to disappear too. It's actually quite awesome. So in the next class, we're going to be talking about self-care. And this week, I encourage you to really take some time and focus on what is your personal vision and what is your personal mission, and make them a statement. Write them down, and so that you can read them. And you will be amazed at how quickly your yes can be your yes and your no can be your no. So with that, I have had some questions leading up to this training, and it is, can I invite others to the group? Yes, the Facebook group I have launched, and so that it is going to be a space to support people during this time, because there's a lot of people that are busier than heck. There's a lot of people that are trying to figure out what's next, and there's a lot of people that need support going through this crazy time. So right now you can invite as many people that you think that can benefit from these classes into the group. I have zero problem with that. Where can you get the Pivot Workbook? That is actually available on Amazon. So I believe it's $20 and you can get it shipped. You can't even buy the paper for the 20 bucks. That it's like, it's ridiculous. And what if you can't attend every class? It's okay. It's going to be recorded, and so you can watch it on your own time. Okay, so I want to thank you for attending today. I am going to be around for a few minutes here, and if you have questions, make sure to write them or comment, put them in the comments underneath that Zoom link, and I will answer them for you. Thanks for attending today. Can't wait to see you next week, and I cannot wait to see what your personal mission and vision statements are going to turn out to be. Bye for now.